Hello and welcome to my thoughts on Shootmania Storm, the beta. Shootmania is a fast-paced multiplayer first-person shooter. The game is fairly easy to pick up but almost impossible to master. It does have a server browser, but it's not very clear as to how many people are in each server, but it does seem to work fairly well and is separated by location such as England, France, Germany, wherever. The controls are simple but effective. They are actually fairly precise, which they need to be because it's very fast. You need to kind of know precisely what your character's doing, and it seems to work fairly well. There's only a couple of buttons, really. You have W, A, S, and D, usual. You've got jump, you've got sprint, and you obviously have fire your weapon. There is no duck functionality, which kind of it's a bit of a shame because there are a couple of times when you're getting shot at and you kind of wish that you'd have the option to either jump over the projectiles or slide under if you're moving fast enough. I wouldn't expect to do much hiding or camping because your character does in fact glow with your team colour, which just kind of encourages people to keep the action going rather than sitting in a corner because you die very quickly. Each game mode has a different objective. My personal favourite is Battle, and that's the one I'll be showing in this video. When you spawn into the game, you can get the rules to show up by simply pressing the F1 button, and then the screen in front of your character will show the rules. I found this very, well, quite refreshing really, because most games have the rules kind of either in the loading screen, which works okay, but it's just nice that it will pop up in front of your character, you can read through in your own time. It just worked fairly well for me. It'd be nice if you could get the scoreboard to show up as well when you spawn, so each time it's just a quick refresh rather than it coming up, when you press tab. But it works just well, same as in every game. It's there. Although the score is a little bit odd because you've got the large number kind of towards the left, I guess, is the score from the previous rounds in this match, whereas the smaller score with the plus next to it is your score for this round. The levels do have danger in them, such as this acid or death liquid hole, which I immediately fell in on my first go. It wasn't the best of starts, but it was nice to see that there are kind of other elements of danger in the maps. So yeah, do keep kind of an eye out. The weapon itself isn't a gun, but it's actually your hand that fires these balls of energy. There's no weapon on screen, so you've got a very good view of what's up ahead for you, which makes a bit of a change from most modern games where sometimes the gun can take up a quarter of the screen, especially with the bigger, like a rocket launcher or something. So it's quite nice to have the full view. Although I've not worked out how to get rid of the rest of the HUD. You can get rid of the crosshair, but you still have the speech and things coming up. The gun itself has 4 charge slots, and so can fire the 4 shots as fast as you can click, essentially. But when you do that, it does leave you defenseless until you reach a single charge again, which isn't the best way to do it. Most times it's better to fire in moderation, but in the heat of a firefight, it's fairly hard to control your fire. You tend to just want to fire everything and hope your enemy dies. You get 1 point for each time you hit an enemy. You don't get any extra points for killing them. It's 2 hits to kill, so it's plus 1 point for hit, plus 1 for a kill. It's fairly simple, it keeps the scores fairly kind of normal. Unfortunately, I don't think you get any points for capturing the flags, which does mean you get some people not actually capturing, just standing around and shooting, but it works so far. There's no regenerating health and no way to restore it. Headshots don't seem to do like one-hit kills or any extra damage, which is fair enough. I mean, it's 2 hits to kill, it makes no difference anyway. So far I have found 3 iterations of the weapon. There's the standard one, which, the 4 shots, fairly slow moving, but works. You have it everywhere, apart from in these 2 other sections I found. In the tunnel sections, which tend to be fairly short anyway, so this one I've not actually used it in a combat scenario. It's a 2-shot weapon. It fires a larger ball of energy that explodes after sticking to something. I don't know if it sticks to people, but it explodes, so I don't know what the range is on that, really. There's also a railgun type of weapon, which is activated in certain pads on the levels. It's fairly rare. I've only had it a couple of times. It's a hit scan weapon, so there's no actual projectile time. It's just you fire and it's hit them. But so to balance it out, these pads tend to be in raised, exposed areas. So the raised is good for the person firing, but there's not a lot of cover, so people can take you out So they're not that useful, but it's just nice to have a bit of variety. I don't know if in certain servers there'll be railguns only, or the larger projectiles only, and the railgun only has one shot and takes longer to recharge. I didn't manage to hit anyone with it, because I'm not very good at it yet. So I don't know if it's instant kill. As you have seen, the characters move fairly fast, making hitting people quite hard as it is. And since the projectiles are, well, they're projectiles rather than hit scan, it is possible to dodge them at longer range, but it does take some practice. You do feel quite good when you're in there with a firefight with a person, and you're both dodging around, and you're thinking you're doing fairly well. And it is good when you beat them. You get a real sense of satisfaction where you outmatched that person. So one-on-one firefights are they're intense, they're gritty, they're very good, and they look quite kind of impressive. Because you've got this grating streams of these energy balls going straight past your face, really close. The hitboxes seem to work brilliantly, so you never feel cheated when you die. It was fantastic, especially for a beta as well. But then again, you do have times where, if you're fairly new to the game, you'd stand up with you and this other person firing, jumping around, neither of you hitting, and you could be there for a good minute, hopping around, going, I'm bound to hit them any second, but because you've not quite got used to the trajectory time and all of that, it's quite hard. So there are times where it's actually better to run away, select a new ground to fight, and just take them on again, and hope that you win. Which is why the jump pads are so useful, really, in this game, because it's get away quick, but they can also follow you, but you have to try and set up in the short time you have, and just kill them. As a general game, it's fast, it works brilliantly. Being aware of your surroundings is very vital to winning your firefights. So, with the jump pads, you need to know where they're going, so you know, what sort of area you're going to be in. You don't really want to be falling off ledges and missing jumps when you're being shot at, because you've only got 2 hits. If you take them, you're out. There's just nothing you can do, so it's fair enough. But you do need to be precise. You need to actually be thinking about what you're doing. I enjoyed it a lot because I kind of like the sense of, yes, it was skill that beat that man. Obviously, there's a bit of luck in it. You do fire the occasional shot and it will hit someone in the distance, and you'll be like, oh, that was, very lucky. It's hard to call some of it skill, so just be aware that you will get hit by random shots from really far away, but everyone does, so that's fine. There is cover in the levels. It's not all about speed, speed, speed. You can and will want to be using the cover. It's very useful. There are times, obviously, though, when it's not the best scenario, because you can get flanked very easily. You'll be there, and because of how fast people travel, they'll just shoot straight past you, turn around, 2 shots, and you can die, if they're good enough and hit you. So, it's kind of it works both ways. It's useful, but has its downsides. With the see-through fences, it's kind of adds a new element to the gameplay, because, you and the enemy can see each other, you're both there going, oh, yeah, he's in quite a good position, but so am I. Which one is going to run? We've got to fight. So one of you will hop around the fence and start firing. Unfortunately, in the scenario that I was in, I managed to win. It's quite nice, because you can jump to fire over, but you can't jump over them. And it just works fairly well, I'd say. The boost functionality you just saw is very useful. It's basically, you just hold down the jump button, and it kind of rushes you forwards, works fairly well. I mean, it's not really fast, but it's fast enough that it kind of can catch people off guard, so you can do some serious damage. It's good for getting behind enemy lines. Some of the firefights can be really, really impressive. Like at the start of this match, when everyone just jumps, they all fire, and if you look up, there's just a stream of red and blue right across the sky. It's brilliant and just awesome to watch. This was a 80-man server. I think at this point it only had 60 people in it though. But it was just fantastic to see the two armies colliding, and it was just a brilliant way of portraying it. And especially since you're in medieval knight armor, it just gives the whole, well, I don't know, it's kind of back to the old age of skill and numbers beating, rather than in modern day there's a lot of I've got the better position, la-di-da-di-da. In this, the faster reactions, the better positioning, it all comes together, and you need to actually be paying attention to win. I really enjoyed Shootmania. The fast action and having no regenerating health and no way to recover it meant that, you'd be a bit careless for your first kind of half of your life until you got hit, and then you'd change strategy because you're like, okay, I can't really carry on doing that because I'll be out. And it's just, there's loads of ways to play the game. You can either be defensive, you could be attacking, you could be behind enemy lines and just causing mayhem, to stop the enemy from attacking quite as much. But as long as you all kind of work together and don't have too many people doing one of each, it's a really good game and it can work out. It's generally fairly fair. I found it really fun. Although, if you are outnumbered in a firefight, you do tend to lose, which is fair enough. I mean, you're outnumbered, they have more shots than you collectively. So unless you're very lucky or very skilled, you tend to go down very quickly behind enemy lines, so it's a very risky strategy. This is, though, one of the games where half the time it's better just to run away, get reinforcements, and then rejoin the fight, rather than fighting to the death, because when you die, you're out of the action, and it's just impractical for your team, because you're not there, you obviously aren't doing anything useful when you're dead. So, I found the 4-shot method on the gun rather infuriating at times, to be fair, because you'd be there, you just want to keep firing, so obviously in most modern games, your guns have, 30 bullets, 100 bullets, however many bullets. In this you have 4, and then you have to wait for it to recharge. And you're just there, middle of a firefight, both you and your enemy are waiting for that single shot to recharge. You both fire and you miss, and you're there and you have to wait, trying to dodge around each other. It just kind of turns into a bit of a ballet of sorts. It's quite elegant fighting, would be an okay way to put it, I guess. But yeah, it was very fun to play. I would definitely suggest that people try it. It's just a really nice change from other modern FPS games. This game did have a few issues, such as when I got stuck on this pad, because I went over this jump pad, and someone else got on it at the same time as me. I got knocked off towards this side and landed on this pad. It stops me from jumping and shooting, so I couldn't do anything. But fortunately, there is a suicide option. But it would be nice if I could jump off. I don't mind not being able to shoot, because it would provide an unfair advantage for me to be that high up. But it was just, a slight, more of an annoyance than an actual problem. Here are just a couple of the maps so you can get an idea of the level design. It will have like a level editor, and you'll probably be able to create your own favourites coming up, not just the ones that are here now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, then please click the like button. If you have any suggestions or styles of play that you would like to see, then leave a comment below. Mr. Socky32, signing off.